send y'all spec. And hits that me, that's facts. I'm still coming for a play. When I hear something, then shut up, 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 shut up.
Whether we're talking billions of bugs or dimensions worth of damage, winning a game of Commander can be quite a difficult task, especially with some of the smells coming off, y'all. I mean, for real. It also doesn't help when your commander practically grabs a blowhorn and tells the opponents how we'll plan on winning and what they should be looking for. The Gave deck at the table, it's probably going to try to absolutely swarm the board with tokens, looking for something like Scute Swarm and Crater Hoofs for the win. The Gearson Starn Pinger deck is probably going to put some pingers in play, like Prodigal Sorcerer, along with damage amplifiers like City on Fire to output a ton of damage. What if I told you you can hide the win? Labels. Super annoying in real life, but in Commander, they're pretty useful. They help us understand the decks at our table and what they plan to do during the game, but can also be used in a very different way deck building wise. For example, if you sit down with a Gave token deck, it's safe to say your opponents will expect the token game plan. Flood the board with tokens, buff or sacrifice said tokens, get value, win game. Well, if that same Gave deck runs a Veto the Dusk Rose and a Broodheart engine, both of which can be utilized in this deck, it can set up what I like to call a hidden win. In Gave, we can sacrifice Veto early to make opponents forget about him and let him fall deeper and deeper into our graveyard, and they're really not going to look at our graveyard too much. It's not a graveyard deck, right? You could then later have a turn where you have enough tokens and sacrifice our Broodheart engine to grab Veto and activate him, swing with your tokens for the win. One of my favorite things. I'm actually doing something super similar to this in my $50 budget league deck for my local game store, with Broodheart engine along with Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog combo. Just in case I mill into my Witherbloom by accident, I can now like sack the Broodheart, get back Witherbloom, play Chain out of my hand. The deck also runs Eternal Witness and Regrowth to sneak out some wins out of the grave as well. This is also why Sun Titan is one of my favorite cards of all time, especially paired with creatures that sack themselves to give your board indestructible, like Boromir. Playing a Sun Titan, grab a Boromir, crack it, play a board wipe, swing for the win, has won me many a game. Lands are another great way to hide the win, as not only are they very difficult to deal with, especially in casual Commander, as like no one really runs land removal. And let me interject and say, this might just be a personal thing. Lands are rarely looked at by me past the turn they're played. Even really strong lands, I'll look at them and be like, whoa, that's strong, and then immediately forget about them and look at the actual board state that can kill me. The opponent's lands are also the farthest thing away from us most of the time. Their hands can be blocking it, the way their arms are set on the table can be blocking it. It's easy to forget lands, let's be honest. So running some lands that can win games is a really good way to hide the win. Lands like Vault of the Archangel to provide a board-wide lifelink Death Touch is a definite way to swing the game in your favor in a game-ending way, while lands like Keswick Wolf Run can provide a huge buff along with Trample to go more of a go tall route with a land. Both great options. There are also just straight up combos with lands. For example, Dark Depths Vampire Hexmage, that's a 2-mana 20/20, which can definitely win some games. And lands that straight up win the game like Maze's End, which gives you a game win if you have 10 gates. There's also lands like the World Tree that can be sacrificed to play as many gods out of your deck as you want for free. All of these are pretty good ways to win the game in the land zone. Oh, and I just thought of Field of the Dead. That's a great land that can win the game, providing 2/2s on landfall. Valakut the Molten Pinnacle, providing lightning bolts on mountain ETBs. Yeah, there's plenty of really good land options that can very effectively hide the win. I think Aristocrats are one of the best decks at hiding the win, because value hoarding, I think, is essentially the same thing as hiding the win. And what I mean by this is playing so many small CMC value pieces that the opponent eventually can't really make a good decision in terms of removal or plays before they realize the game is pretty much over. Any move they do, the Aristocrat just gets too much value. Cards like Blood Artist are really great at this, as they are such a small CMC and they come out so early, they don't see a ton of interaction, and even if they do, those Aristocrat decks also run recursion to be able to reuse a lot of the creatures they sack, which makes them more likely to stick anyway. Before opponents know it, you've got 2 or 3 of these Blood Artist type effects in play, plus a sack outlet, and then pairing all of this with stuff like Guardian of Faith, which can phase out your board if any opponent has the specific answer to deal with what the Aristocrat's doing. A win like this is all about nickel and diming people, and it really can come out of nowhere. Prosper Tomebound is really good at this. Before you know it, the Prosper player has 14 treasure tokens in play just from passive just from Prosper triggers going off, and also has a Nadir Nightblade in play, and we're dead from the incremental value hoarding. I think one of the most important ways to hide the win is the way you're acting, which I've labeled as like postural hiding. We don't want our body language telling the table that we're about to win. If we do that, everyone's going to target us with all their removal spells, their counter spells. People don't want to lose the game, and obviously they'll do anything, even if it's the worst play they could do, as long as they could stick around another turn. So don't act or talk like you're gonna win. That just puts like a huge target on your back. Play it cool, mama. You got 3 other people at the table most of the time. You're gonna talk like that. That's a lot of resources being devoted to you. Go under the radar a little bit and coast on through. Referring back to Prosper Tomebound, Exile is weirdly enough a great way to sneak a win if you kind of act like you forgot about it. Let's say you hit a Marionette Master with your Prosper and then go like 2-3 turns in a row without even looking at your stack of Exile cards. Act like you have completely forgotten that you even have a stack of Exile cards. They do not exist to you. This works even better if you've got a clear play that's good out of Exile, not a game-winning play, but just a good play, and you don't do it for a turn, convincing your opponents, oh, I think he forgot he has his little exile pile there. I didn't forget I had my exile pile there. Why do you think I built Prosper? Then you just wait for the control deck to tap all the way out, and then you suddenly make contact with that exile pile again. And we're gonna go ahead and pop Marionette Master into play, crack all of our treasure tokens from Prosper. Yeah, good game. You guys wanna go to the next one? My buddy Deegan has pulled out that hidden win multiple times on us. Always fun. This last point is a small one. I just kind of didn't know where to put it, so I'm just going to tag it here on the end of the video. Group hug decks can be a great way to sneak wins just because of how they're perceived. They're very easy to spot. You see a Feldergriff, everyone's going to be like, hey, that's the group hug deck. Awesome. He's going to give us goodies and stuff. He's not really trying to win. Any good cards he plays are just for the meme. This is going to be fun. Sometimes they're not for the meme. Sometimes you can play that commander just to get away with some plays. Another great way that I have found to hide the win is to make your opponents convinced that it's them pulling the trigger on something and not you. A fantastic example of this is Lord of Pain, because as soon as I play that card, I let everyone know at the table that they get to pick who the damage is going at as long as it's not me. And for whatever reason, everybody loves that deal, and they never get mad at me for the Lord of Pain damage. They always get mad at the other people slinging big spells, which, fair enough. By the time they even realize they're in the, by the time they even realize their life total is now in the teens, my Reanimator shell that runs this Lord of Pain has enough stuff in play that the game is fairly easy to bring home if I can get Lord of Pain out early enough. Goat is another fantastic way to do this that fits into this same category. You are forcing opponents to swing at each other. It really makes opponents get mad at each other, not really you. And cards like Disrupticorum can straight up just win you games by playing it. So, convince the opponents that it's them doing it to each other, create infighting. Great way to hide a win. So yeah, I've just noticed a lot of my games lately have been ending due to hidden wins, just things that are like in graveyard that I don't realize that another piece of recursion that's already in play is going to get back and I really don't have a way of stopping. Or the exile piece in the Prosper example, or the really powerful land someone has in play. Or I swore I had another turn because the guy I was passing into was acting like he had nothing good in hand. Now he's sitting over there winning the game. He postured perfect to make none of us think he was going to win. The Aristocrat deck has so many tiny 2 and 3 drop value engine pieces that I only have 2 pieces of removal in hand and a board wipe, and any of that's just going to be feeding into the Aristocrat engine anyway. I think these are all fantastic ways to quote-unquote hide the win, and I think that's pretty cool. So if there's any ways that you guys like to hide the win, make sure to drop a comment and let me know how you do that. If you're liking the videos, or maybe you didn't like this video, check out the other ones on the channel. There's a ton more to look at. If you want to drop a like and a subscribe, that always helps out a ton. If you want to order any of the cards you saw during this video off of TCG Player, maybe they're not at your LGS, consider using my TCG Player affiliate link. And if you want to show some personal, additional support to the channel, consider checking out the Patreon for as low as $1, where you can have a direct hand in our weekly obscure card list. And with that, I'm going to get out of your guys' hair, and I'll see you guys next time.